you set an intention every day, right? So I think I've shared this with you before. On my board in the office here, on my whiteboard, amongst all the other scribblings on there, at the top of it, it says, replace my fear with faith, right? Every day I pray, replace my fear with faith. Because if I live in fear, I'm not moving forward. If I'm not moving forward, I'm stagnant, or I'm parallel, or I'm worst of all, I'm going backwards. So I always have to be in motion, moving forward. So replacing my fear with faith is what it says on my board. And then underneath it says, then act. Then act. Frickin' do something, you ding dong. Act. And then underneath that says, are my actions in line with my intentions? Right? Because we can do a lot of actions. Oh, how you do? Oh, I'm busy. Yeah, what are you doing? I don't know, just busy shit. I'm busy. I don't know. Right? So I can do things, but are they in line with my intentions? Are they moving the ball down the field? Am I getting closer to the goal line? Am I sharing with more investors so that they come into our fund and reap the rewards?
One of the deepest questions that you could ever ask yourself, and which kind of starts the whole journey in spirituality, is that question that we touched on before. Like, is there more to life than what I'm experiencing right now? And so the reason I started the book and changed it from 2016 all the way back to 2004 was when I asked myself that question. So I realized that, and it's kind of this, similar story to you, and I think to probably a lot of people, you have these questions, and then you may entertain them or you may not. And I probably didn't entertain it for a long time. And that's why my spiritual growth didn't really kick off until probably, 11 years later, right?
Truthfully, I mean, it's those cheerleaders in your life that really make a difference, right? And those cheerleaders for me were my parents, my teachers, my mentors, everybody as I was growing up. And that's the reason why I got to where I got to at such a young age. I mean, I'm 29 now. I mean, from delivering pizzas to a 9-figure real estate career is crazy to think about, but it was one step at a time.
Yeah.
Step at a time. And it was the mentors, it was all the relationships, it was all these different things that helped get me here. So I give all the credit to them, but in seventh grade, that metamorphosis, from going from that kid who sat in the back, didn't want to speak, didn't want to do a thing, to being like class president and a leader and all of these things. And that comes from affirmations too. Like, you always got to be careful, when you're speaking to any child, right? You don't know how much your words hold so much power.
We all make major choices in our lives, probably going to be like 3 major choices that are going to really project you up or project you down or kind of keep you stagnant. And you're going to remember those choices for the rest of your life. Yeah. And because they're going to have such a major impact. Then he talked about the rocking chair test. Basically, when you're an older person sitting in a rocking chair with your grandkids around you and stuff, are you going to have regrets at that time that you didn't do those or make those certain choices in different ways? Or are you going to be happy where you're at? And so I really started kind of thinking that, because he even said too, you blink and you're 5 years older, 10 years older, and it's like time's just flying. And it's like, where are we going to be? Are we going to be stuck in that same choice, that same pattern, and just accept where we're at? Or are we going to try and live the better life that we can live?
With everything, we went through the fight. That's why we chose the subtitle, Fire and Gold. But despite us going through the fire, something good came out of it. And that something good is what we're doing right here, sitting here talking to you. She and I are both normal. Despite our circumstances, we were made to be broken. The devil threw every fiery dart that he could at us to try and break us, but he never broke us. We survived, we persevered, and we're using our stories to help other people press forward and to try and help them say, see, joy comes on the other side. There's a rainbow after every storm. Fires do hurt. A fire can either burn you or a fire can light your path. Yes, the fire that we thought was meant to burn us, it didn't burn us. It just lit our path.
He had crazy, little rattles and flutes and jaw harps and all kinds of different instruments. And what we would do is this sort of like organic, formation of bands. Like, he would just toss out the instruments and he would start playing a beat, and then somebody else would like do a little rattle, maybe someone would do a beatbox, somebody would start singing, like, and just we sort of had this, it was play is what it was, right? We were just men playing with instruments, and we would start to form some awesome music. Like we would really jam out, and like before you know it, we would all be like clapping, yelling, standing up, like jamming, like being very excited.
Yeah.
And that for me kind of unlocked this idea of like, wow, like connecting play to creativity and connecting that to sort of finding your voice or finding what you can create, finding the power of sort of this of starting, right, and manifesting things.
Yeah.
Because there's always the next thing. There's always more money and more cars and more houses and more this and more that. And so when do you actually feel successful? And it's really quite damaging because men unconsciously chase this version of success. And what they do along the way is they sacrifice everything they truly value on their path towards, on their quest for success, right? And they sacrifice relationships with their intimate partner, with their children, with other members of the family and friendships and all sorts of things because they feel like they can't define themselves as a man adequately enough unless they feel successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And unless they have all this stuff. And so what I teach men is around, like, there's nothing wrong with success as long as you can define what that means and you're focused and purposeful and your life has meaning and you're doing it in a really not just meaningful way, but with some service and contribution to others so that it actually means something.
You don't realize what your calling is until you kind of have those rough spots and you hit those hard roadblocks that you realize there's more to me. There's more to what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I could ignite my passion, and my passion can fuel my purpose, and my purpose is going to help me walk out my destiny, assignment, and calling. But it's like in those hard spots, like if you never go through systemic racism, if you never go through depression, if you never go through not feeling valid, if you go through, maybe some people went through a divorce, maybe some people, lost a child, or there's so many different hard parts, but it's in those hard seasons that you realize there's something more beyond the surface. But when you're in that hard season, you don't realize it because you're kind of having like a pity party, or you're like, why me? Yes. Or why is this happening to me? But then you have to like kind of retrain your thoughts and reframe your mind and say, well, it's not just happening to me, it's happening for me.
I've never been the person to talk, much less talk on camera. I've never been the person to go out and make friends and connect with people. I'll never do that, never. So all of this that you're seeing happened since I wrote one thing, Breaking Your Barriers. And I decided that if I'm gonna really break barriers, those are the things that have been holding me back over the years. Imagine what I can accomplish when I don't allow these things to keep me down anymore. Always so easy to get discouraged, always, giving up on myself. I've never finished anything that I started. I'm always quarreling. I'm always arguing, always doubting myself. All of that. And I realized that the more I came out and did what I had to do, I could change lives because people were watching me and I did not know. So when I changed, other people started to change.
You've been told your whole life, every one of you have been told your whole life that veils would be lifted, that you would have new eyes to see. That is in every aspect that you can possibly imagine coming into fruition. You're unveiling who you are inside of yourself. You're unveiling who the politicians truly are, who the religious leaders really are, who the teachers really are, who the scientists really are, who the doctors and pharmaceutical companies really are. Everything is being unveiled. everything. We're peeling back all the layers of the onion, all the way down to the center. And you're at the center, and I'm at the center. And who we are as beings and creators is what's really going to matter about all of it. And when we can get back to who we are as a being, and remember that we are a spiritual being having a physical experience and not the other way around, and we all come from a place of a heart space, pure love.